A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Sports Tonight. This is the last session of Sports Tonight for the week. It's a Friday night, and we are happy to be here to do what we love to do, which is to update you with the latest in the world of sports. We'll be doing that for the next 15 minutes, and we hope you enjoy every bit of what we have on offer for you this Friday. We have a very loaded package. You remember, a Friday, we spend quality time to give you a preview of what will be happening on the domestic scene. That's talking about the Globe Premier League. We will also, of course, talk about the Nigeria National League on the program tonight. And we will also spare some time to talk about the women, the Nigeria Women Premier League. Will also come under focus on Sports Tonight this Friday. Let me also tell you that on the program tonight, we will talk about the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup currently going on. There will be games tonight. There will be games tomorrow. Nigeria will be on duty tomorrow. And we hope for a better performance from our girls than what we saw when we played against Mexico a few days ago. For those of you who are lovers of the bar sports, Tunde Ogunshiku is waiting. He's already around. Tunde will be giving us a lowdown on all that has happened around the Chess Olympiad and how well Nigeria is performing. He will be giving us comprehensive review and, of course, preview of the Chess Olympiad on Sports Tonight later on. There's plenty as well on the domestic scene that Tunde will be telling us on the program tonight. But let's start off this show this way, the way we always love to start the show, to tell you that this show is all about you and that you are very key to all that we're doing on the program tonight. Without you, we won't be here. So we need you to be active and to also be very interactive with us on Sports Tonight. By that I mean we want you to give us your opinion to issues as we raise them on the program tonight through the platforms that you are seeing on your screen. Facebook, channels, iPhone Sports, and of course Twitter at channels_sports, and my handle at Tony Ibitoye is also active as well. So we'll be able to read your comments real time as we go along on the show this Friday. So thank you once again for joining us on Sports Tonight and for making this your favorite. But we're waiting for Abbas to join us later on, but Dumnodi Okonta is joining me on the show tonight. Saeed Abbas will be joining us later on. It's close by. There's very heavy traffic, coming towards this side. So we expect that he'll be able to navigate his way and join us later on. But before he joins us, let's just start off the show by taking a look at these African legends. Dumnodi, how do you describe Didier Drogba? They call him the best African that has ever played for Chelsea. Chelsea rate him as their biggest player ever. But the story really of Didier Drogba won't be complete without talking about his nationality and his national team, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. Didier Drogba today announced that it's time up for him. No more international football, no more playing for the Ivorian national team. He wants now to focus on club football. Wise decision for a man that is aging?
Obviously, they have a new coach, Avereno. He has communicated to the coach that he's going to be available for the Ivorian, but not to play on the pitch. So it means he has to get a coaching capacity. Maybe he's going.
What does it mean by that? He wants to be available.
He wants to be available, not as a player.
In any other capacity apart from being a player.
On the pitch. I don't know. I don't know what that. But he's a man that has given his all for the Ivorian. Their first ever World Cup. Of course, somebody divided the Ivorian team of two generations. We have the first generation led by Serge Magui. They won the Nations Cup, they didn't qualify for the World Cup. The other generation led by Didier Drogba qualified for 3 consecutive World Cup in 2006, 2010, and 2014, but never won the Nations Cup. So, but it's in the other generation.
And they never really lived up to the hype of being the leading generation.
From 2006 and 2014, they had the best squad in Africa. But they never lived up to their potential. They qualified for the World Cup. Their best ever performance at the World Cup was, I think in 2010 they crashed out in the first round, 2016 in the first round. In 2014,
the same way that we were going to do
the better. They were going to do better, but they had the best set of players from the defense to the midfield to the attack. I glanced loaded, but they never had their man.
Off the field, it was also a very key figure in Ivorian football. Not just in Ivorian football, he was also an ambassador for peace. Because I remember in the heat of civil war in Cote d'Ivoire, he played a role in helping to overcome that civil war.
Yes, he's one man that has contributed both on the pitch and off the pitch. He has used his influence on the pitch to affect his society. Like you mentioned, the civil war in Cote d'Ivoire, what he used. We must give it to him. We must give it to him. He's one player that everybody wants to look forward to. You want to have in your team because of his strength, his stamina, his speed, and he puts his all to everything. And he's one player that whenever he's so passionate, let me just say, passionate for both national team and club, especially for the Ivorian national team. He wants to see them win the Nations Cup in his time, but he never got that. But he qualified for three consecutive World Cup. The other generation didn't do. But I hope the Ivorian national team they'll miss him. Just need to miss him. He's one key member of the team. But he's seen it all. He made 104 appearances for the Ivorian national team, scoring 65 goals in the process.
How many appearances?
104 appearances.
104. So he was able to beat the 100 mark.
Yeah, the centenary.
Centenary mark.
Of course, but we hope as he's coming back in another capacity, and of course, we hope his influence is going to be felt in the team.
Joining Chelsea this season, Dumnodi is joining not just as a player, because I remember they also said he's joining
because he wants to be under the tutelage of
a coach player role.
He wants to be under the tutelage of Jose Mourinho as a coach player. But I think that's what he's going to do. Maybe he wants to transfer that to the national team, because once he says he's going to come back to the national team, but not as a player, then he should be looking at something sitting on the bench, managerial capacity. But I think it's one player that Africans will celebrate. I hope his kind of memorial will look like the Kanu One Course memorial to his novelty game. So it's one player that one thing I want to say for Julius Drogba is passion. You could see that even if his team is losing, you could see the passion in him. You could see how he drives.
Let me ask you this one as well, Dumnadi, before we close this discussion on Didier Drogba. The golden generation of Cote d'Ivoire is the leader of that golden generation. Now that the leader is taking a bow, are you expecting Kolo Toure to make this kind of announcement very soon? Solomon Kalou to make this kind of announcement? Didier Zokora is as old, if not older than Didier Drogba in the national team.
Yes.
And then the other guys, the Arthur Buka,
yes,
to also make this kind of announcement in the next couple of years. Now it means that the Ivorians will have to rebuild their national team and start to look for young players to replace this golden generation.
This is a team that has been together for 12 years, and of course you can't take it away from them. For 12 years, from 2006 up to this moment, they've been together. So you expect that some of those players who have been there before Drogba came on the scene will leave the national team after he has left, because you can't expect an Atoboka to still be in the national team unless you still want to keep playing. Maybe for Coach Xavier, he has a huge responsibility in his hand, a huge job, because some of the guys we felt we work with are now saying we can't continue with the Ivorian national team. So he has to keep rebuilding. But there is one thing that the Ivorians need to work on, getting players from the youth level. But the good news is that they'll be participating in every youth competition. So that's itself is a conveyor belt for producing players like Didier Drogba. And they have a lot of players in Europe who could fit in. We saw some new players at the World Cup, players we've not seen before. So it means you have to go deep down into the record book and dig down to get a Ivorian player who play top-flight football in Europe.
All right, so that's how we start off the show tonight. The amazing story of Didier Drogba is call time on his international career. Talk to us about it. What do you feel? How would you describe Didier Drogba? He will still be able to play club football as a coach player for Chelsea. And he says, look, I'm going to come back to the Ivorian national team, not as a player, but in some different capacity. Now you can talk to us about it. What do you feel about Didier Drogba? How would you describe him? Of course, we expect that your comments will come in to those platforms. Is he the biggest, the best African player ever? I mean, just describe Didier Drogba for us and what you feel he will be able to bring to the game now that he's calling time from active football for the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. All right, so let's move away from there. We'll, of course, go back later on to read your comments on all of this. But we need to go on a quick break now. When we return from the break, we'll take some few minutes to update you about what is going on around Nigerian football. Yesterday, it was the NFF Executive Committee announcing the ban, one for 1 year, another one for 6 months, of 2 executive committee members. Today, it's a different story. We'll come back and give you all the lowdown and look into the rule book of FIFA and NFF and see what opinion you have of what is going on around our football. We'll come back and do all that and more when we return from this timeout. All right, thank you for staying with us. Time for us to move on now and just spend a few minutes. Dumnodi, when 2 elephants fight, it is the grass, they say, that suffers, but they don't always remember to also include that those elephants also suffer some injuries, and those injuries could be fatal sometimes for those who are involved in the fight. But right now, I'm just trying to paint a picture of what is going on in Nigerian football. Yesterday, we talked about the NFF Executive Committee descending and announcing suspensions on 2 of their members, Barrister Chris Green and, of course, Ahmed Yusuf Fresh. Fresh for 1 year, Barrister Chris Green for 6 months. They are to stay away from all football-related activities, according to that judgment. But today, it's a different story altogether, because the NFF Executive Committee that made a pronouncement yesterday and the NFF Appeals Committee look like they are heading for a big, big showdown all around Nigerian football, because obviously the NFF Executive Committee and the Appeals Committee have different views of what is going on around the suspension of those 2 NFF Executive Committee members. And they made a pronouncement yesterday about, I beg your pardon, the Appeals Committee made a pronouncement today describing the suspension on those 2 NFF Executive Committee members as null and void. But the NFF, as you can see on your screen, have also come out to reject the decision of its Appeals Committee. Well, let me just tell you that we do not have our own opinion on this issue. What we are going to be doing is to just read out the decisions and the verdict and relevant parts of the statutes for you, and then allow you to make up your mind. Dumnodi, the first thing we want to read out is the Appeals Committee, the grounds on which they described the suspension of the 2 board members as null and void. Number 1, they said there was the non-inclusion of the issue of suspension in the agenda of that NFF Executive Committee meeting that was held yesterday. They said there was the inability